My name is Edwin Balansuah. I'm a chartered accountant with the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana. I'm also a financial modeling and valuation analyst. So when you have a company, you want to do some analysis, then you can actually get in touch. They will work together. But for the purposes of today's meeting, we are looking at financial literacy. So usually we get educated in various aspects. We get educated in our various disciplines as a teacher, as a nurse, as an accountant. But there's this little niche, which is called financial literacy, that sometimes we lose sight of. And it usually doesn't appeal as an important aspect. But then, as a human being, there is nothing we can do without finances. And so therefore, it becomes very imperative that we know how to manage the incomes that we are receiving, especially in an economy where you have expenditure rising, which sometimes is no fault of yours, and you just have to manage within it. So this evening, I have quite a lot on my slides. I would like to go straight into it. Financial literacy is your ability to possess certain skills and knowledge, as well as behavior, very key, that allows the individual to make informed decisions regarding money. So it's not just about having the money or the lack of it, or knowing what money is, but you having the skill, we call it a skill, and the behavior. These two are very key. You can have the knowledge, but your behavior is contrary to the knowledge you have. For instance, you know that your income doesn't support certain levels of expenditure. You know very well, but you have a certain appetite that is drawing you into incurring those expenditure. Then your behavior is contrary to the knowledge you have. Are we together? So this knowledge you are acquiring today will have to be inculcated into your lifestyle. That is the behavior aspect we're talking about. So it's not like you going to school, getting a certificate, and you go and put it down and say you are educated in financial literacy. But we don't see it reflecting in your lifestyle. So you see somebody who earns a lot of money, but the moment that source of income is cut off, the person within the twinkle of an eye becomes a pauper. That is financial illiteracy. Just some few weeks ago or months, a friend called me and was in financial distress. This is someone who had over 5 months accumulated salary paid to him at a go. And in just 2 months down the line, he's in financial distress. So the question I ask is, what financial decisions have this person taken? Now he told me, yes, he had bought a land, he's starting a building. But was that the immediate decision you should take? When we go further, you will see that putting up a house in certain contexts doesn't inure to a good financial decision. So let's proceed. I'm sure I'm already disturbing some people's doctrines and backgrounds. So we want to see some myths about money or financial literacy. Some myths and facts. We have a myth in the society that financial literacy is only for the wealthy people. But contrary to that, if you are already rich, it means you have been doing something good, something correct, something right that has made you wealthy. Wealth is something you built over time. It is not you having something small in your pocket that you call yourself wealthy, or you being able to live by the months, paycheck to paycheck. You are not wealthy. Before you can call yourself a wealthy person, you need to ask yourself, if my job stops paying me today, how long can I live without this job paying me? That is the first step. Beyond that, if I check out of this world today, what quantum of resources am I leaving for my children. That's why the Bible, I would be referring mostly to Bible scripture. So the Muslims among us, you pardon me, but I know Muslims read Bible, so we are on the same track. But the Bible says that a rich man or a good man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. If you are not wealthy, you can't leave an inheritance for your children, let alone your children's children. So if you are living or surviving by a salary job, you are not wealthy. So financial literacy is not only for the wealthy, it is for everybody. Financial literacy is crucial for everyone as long as you survive on this world called Earth. The second myth is financial literacy is all about savings. Financial literacy has savings in it, but it's not all about savings. And within these 3 days, we will look at it. We have an aspect we talk about investment. Savings is different from investment. Then we have to also talk about the management of the wealth that you are accumulating. Then the last angle, which has to talk about the retirement planning. It's not all about savings, but it's about all the little things you put together to live a financially stable or prosperous life. So in financial literacy, we talk about debt management. People say don't take loan. Loan is bad. It's not every loan that is bad. It's about how you manage the loan. What is the objective for going for that loan? And I believe when we get into the day 2, our banking guru will do justice to that. But when you are going in for a loan, some of the salary workers, you have a project which is, let's say, 10,000 Ghana cedis. Then you go to the bank, the banker tells you, oh, looking at your affordability, you can take 15,000. I say, oh, really? I say, yes. He is looking at the interest he's going to accumulate for his bank. He's not looking at helping you. Also, if you are on government payroll, he knows that the money is secured. It is going to, he will recoup it. So that is more like a risk-free kind of investment he's doing on your life. But you have a budget for 10,000 Ghana cedis. That is what you need money for. And now they have loaned you out 15,000. The 5,000, you didn't actually think about it. You didn't plan about it. So you are most likely going to spend that money without thinking, without a plan. And that turns out to be a bad debt. Okay. Myth number 3, young people don't need financial education. And that is what has brought most of us, our parents, to where we are. I believe that as soon as a child begins to know what money is, how money looks like, what money can do, the child needs financial education. There is something called parentpreneur. So as a parent, you are supposed to be an entrepreneur of your child's life. You should teach this child about savings. Teach this child about making money, managing money, and multiplying it. I have some siblings in the house. Mostly when I go back to the village, I would give them money. And sometimes the parents would be like, don't be giving these children money. You will spoil them. I'm like, no. If you give them the money, there must be some information that follows. If you just give them the money and no information follows, that is where you spoil them. But if I give them the money, I tell them, by the next time I'm coming, I want to see what each and every one of you have done with the money and how productive it has been in your life. If you are unable to do it, know that you are not part of the next batch of money distribution. So by the time you get there, some of them have bought exercise books with their money. Some of them have saved up to a level. They come and show it to you. Some of them will tell you, we went to give offering in church. And that is good behavior. But if you just give the child money without guiding the child what money is, what money can do, then the person grows up, develops a certain pattern of lifestyle and habit. Now you want him to learn financial education. It will be impossible. The person is not disciplined. So this training, I would have loved it to be for the youth between 15 to 21. If you are beyond 40, you are already in a rat race. But God will see us through. Amen. Financial myth number 4. Financial literacy automatically leads to financial success. Well, it is not automatic because after today's training or after this three days training, if you don't go and implement what we have said and discipline yourself, you will not be financially successful. The next time we will be organizing something like this, you will be on it again. And you are not being on it as a continuation, but you'll be on it at ground zero. So it is not automatic, but it behoves on what the person does with that literacy. Myth 5, financial literacy is a one-time education. That is also not true. After today's training, you would see another training come up, maybe in a year's time, in 6 months, in 3 months. The fact that the caption might be the same doesn't mean the content is the same. The financial landscape keeps changing, and we will look at it pretty shortly. Where we started and what we knew as money has dramatically changed over the decades. And what you will know today might become irrelevant tomorrow. This thing, I learned it when I was finishing my university. We had a course called taxation. The things we studied in taxation, just that same year, the finance minister of the country came and announced new tax policies, and everything we had learned, about 40% of it was useless. Even before you finish the school, 40% of what you have learned is useless. So if you don't continue educating yourself, already you are not cut out for the job market. So that is in relation to job market. But in financial literacy, that is the same principle. Myth number 6, financial literacy is not relevant for small business owners, which is also not true. No matter how small the business is, no matter how minute, no matter the location, you need to be able to manage that little business for it to grow. Until you are able to manage the little, you cannot manage something big. So that is the principle. You start small, you make the mistakes, you learn the lessons, then you take up the big thing and you fly with it. Myth number 7, women don't need financial literacy. I think women are more financially diligent than men. So if anybody feels that women don't need financial literacy, then that is a totally wrong ideology. Our mothers, they would go to the farm, go to the market, get some few food stuff, and they know that this must survive us for the next 1 week until another market day. This is budgeting. Nobody else can teach budgeting than our mothers. So women need financial literacy more than ever, and they are more better managers than men. Studies have always shown that. Myth number 8, financial literacy is a Western concept. Oh, we didn't know this. That is not true. When you go back to our villages, our fathers, when they were in the rainy season, most of them had to leave a portion of what they cultivated last year, which they call the seed. Whether the children are starving or not, that seed must not be eaten because they have another season that will be coming. And in that season, they will need seed to generate another cycle of food buffer for the family. And that is financial literacy. So you cultivate, you get 15 bags. You need to know how to manage these 15 bags for the next 8 to 10 months until you are into another season. So it is not a Western culture. It has always been with us in Africa. Just that we have not put it together to call it a course or a concept. Financial literacy is only about numbers. So somebody says, I'm not an accountant. I don't understand numbers. I never liked mathematics. So I cannot study financial literacy. About 50% or 60% of financial literacy has to do with the psychology and your emotional intelligence. How are you able to postpone self-gratification? That one doesn't have to do with numbers. It's about your psychology. You have gone to work, you see your colleague with a brand new vehicle, a motorbike, a car, and you are doing all you can to also acquire that kind of a vehicle. But you don't know what is in the pocket of that your colleague. You don't know what he does behind the scenes, especially that these days people can make money while sleeping. So you feel we are both teachers, we are both nurses. So if my colleague is able to buy a brand new motorbike, I must also buy it. No, it's about the psychology, the mindset. Financial literacy is irrelevant if you have a financial advisor. We sometimes say we don't need a financial literacy if you have a financial advisor. It's 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 a backup if you understand what your financial advisor is saying, because though the person might be a professional in the field, you cannot just put all your trust and hope in the person. So as a business owner, mostly financial advisors, business owners have that, so that they are able to take certain investment decisions. So it's very important. Now we want to see what money is. Wow, our time. All right. I want to see what money is. Our definition of money will also influence how we make it. So money has actually gone through several evolutions, right from the Stone Age. They had a concept of money until today, what we call money. So can someone tell us what money is in your own understanding? Just one person, then we move.
Yes, for me, I think money is a currency that move from one person to another to solve the present problem.
Okay, so money is a currency. So for instance, Ghana
Yes,
cedi
Ghana
is a
city,
currency.
for example.
US dollar is money. Okay. Anybody with a contrary view? All right. So let's go into it. We have had about three different evolutions or eras of which money has changed form until where we are currently. So we have what we call, so like our brother said, money is currency, but currency is geographically limited. For instance, if you have Ghana cedis and you go to the United States, until you transform that your Ghana cedis, you cannot use it. So currency is geographically limited, but money is universal. That is the first thing we have to get hold of. Money is universal, but currency is geographically limited. There was a time that if you had the Zimbabwean dollar, nobody wanted it because the currency was so devalued that it became useless. But that didn't mean that people didn't have money. So the definition of money goes beyond currency. And we are going to look at that shortly. So if you don't have money, then currency will not flow. Currency is tied to money. It is the money you have that enables you to get currency. Are we following? It is money you have that enables you to get currency. It is not currency that gives you money. We'll look at it. So the first era we had was the hunter caveman age. This was the era where there was nothing like currency. But these people were surviving. How were they surviving? So the people did not have currency. but they had what we call skill and energy. In those era, there were no cars, no clothing, no school to attend, no offices, no bills to pay, no emails to send. But what was keeping them alive, their survival, was based on skill and energy. So if we say that money is the currency, it means that our today's survival is based on you having Ghana cedis. So it means somebody who doesn't have Ghana cedi in his pocket cannot survive. But that is not the case. You have money and that brings you the currency. And in their days, money was defined as skill and energy. As long as you had skill and you had the energy, then you had money. You were somebody who could become wealthy. As we go on, we'll see it. Because in those days, you they hunt and then they gather their food. They didn't have they didn't know what they called reproduction. So when they wake up in the morning, they form their hunter groups, they go out and they hunt animals. And there were people who could kill all sorts of animals, those who could kill lions, those who could kill antelopes. So based on your skill level, then we give you more respect and your energy level. Some could hunt the whole day, some could hunt continuously, and that was how they survived. They didn't have currency. So if they didn't have currency and they survived, they were able to make it. Why are we limiting ourselves to currency today as being money? When we have energy, we have skill, which can bring us the currency we want. So in those times, the land was useless to them. They were only interested on what was on the surface of the land, the animals that were running on it, the trees that were bearing fruits. That was what they were depending on. And that was their end of knowledge and innovation. Then we move further. So we talk about working hard and working smart today. So in their days, the energy they had was the hard work, which we call today. And the skill is the smart work. So you realize that instead of chasing the animal around, you rather set a trap and wait for it to walk into it, and then you catch it. Easy. So that was the skill. Either two people will chase it all over until somebody had innovative thinking and said, no, we can't be wasting our time chasing these things. Let me design what we call a trap. Then I'll set it. I know these animals, they pass here. This is where they come to graze. This is where they come to drink. So I'll set the trap in their path. And then that became the pattern. So the person who came up with the innovation of setting traps and developing traps became a businessman. He started selling traps. Me, I won't go and hunt again. Come and collect trap. Go and catch and bring me 3 cows. Go and catch and bring me 3 antelopes. So at that point, the person now began to relax in his house and accumulated food for his family. So today, are these skills still relevant or not? The energy and then the skill, are they still relevant in our today's age?
Yes, please. We still have the energy and the skills.
In the skill, exactly.
Yes.
So
However,
what?
we are not using them.
Good.
Oh, we use, so it's just that you
So
work
we'll go
hard and
for
the
it.
money doesn't come.
Good. We'll go for it further. We'll see how the money
We
will come.
we work for the whole day waiting for the money, but we don't get.
The
The
money
money
will
doesn't come.
come.
Yeah.
Don't worry. So we move ahead. We move from the hunting age to the farming agrarian age. So at this point, people now discover that when we passed here yesterday, this mango wasn't here. So they now realize that okay, the seed can now germinate and can now produce others. Then they see that this cow didn't have a small one. Today it has given birth. So they realize that okay, so the things we have been running around, we can actually keep them in our house and they'll be reproducing for us. Instead of we chasing around and getting lost and having to move every time we're moving from Jirapa to Wa to go and settle again. When we finish catching all the monkeys there, we have to move to Tamale and keep moving. So they realized it wasn't sustainable. So as time went on, they discovered the productive nature of the land. So they began to realize the importance of the land. Please stay on course. They realized that the land is not just what is on top of it, but within it, it has the ability to reproduce. So at that time, we had the class systems coming up where people now began to own lands because they know that now the land can reproduce. So that is where the royals, those who were the kings and the chiefs, they owned the lands. And the commons were those who didn't have enough land. You have to go and beg somebody to give you a parcel of land for you to farm and then pay the person. If there was war, you are conquered, you become the slave of the person, they give you a small portion, you are farming. So that was a class system. And people also began to introduce what we call polygamy, because you are able to cultivate more land based on the human resource you have. Based on the number of workforce you have, you can cultivate larger lands, and that gives you plenty resource and you become wealthy at that time. So people saw that, oh, if I have one wife, I have to be giving birth to one child at a time. So if I give birth to one, I have to wait for 3 or 4 years. Then I'll give birth to another one. Why don't I take 5 wives so that I'll give birth to 5 children at a time? So we see where polygamy, the reasoning behind polygamy. Today, men will get up because they cannot control themselves. They want to marry women. Please, if your religion accepts it, no offense. But this was the Adamic or long age-old reasoning behind polygamy. And then slave trade was also introduced because they realized that, okay, so instead of me to sit down and give birth and wait for the child to grow, the child until he gets to 10 years, 12 years, he's useless to me. He can't go to farm, he can't do anything. So instead of me going through that investment period, having to be feeding somebody until he's 12 years before he can become productive to me, let me go and pay somebody and collect his human beings to come and work for me. Then slave trade was introduced. So people will now come and give our chiefs money and collect our vibrant men to go and work. And what were they still depending on? It was still the energy and the skill, which was now directed from running around chasing the animals to farming. So there were now challenges in this system because at that time, people now began to set up farms, plantations, but you are cultivating maize, I'm cultivating yam. I want maize. What do? We need to introduce a system of exchange. A system of exchange. Now, the energy and the skill that they had to produce goods was now used in exchange. So that is what has now transitioned, and today we see currency as the money. But the real source of money is the energy and the skill. That's why scripture says that it is God who gives you power to make wealth. He doesn't give you wealth, but he gives you power to make wealth. If he gives you good health, that is power. If he gives you wisdom, that is power. These are the 2 things you need to make wealth. And that was the Solomon's secret. Solomon had wisdom like nobody else, and he became the wealthiest man. He didn't have currency, so how did he become the wealthiest man? He didn't have Ghana city. How did he become the wealthiest man? So barter trade came in, and it came with its challenges, and challenges brought innovation. So most of us, we run away, we shy away from challenges, limitations, problems. Once you see a problem, it is an opportunity to make money. So somebody goes to a bus station, he sees a lot of people standing there, hundreds of people. They're waiting for the bus, which will come in 20, 30 minutes time. And say, these people by 20 minutes time, they will be tasty. Let me go and sell water there. Business has started. Let me go and sell snacks. They will buy and eat. We go to church, we spend 3 hours. Then we come out, we are hungry. Nobody sells malt around. That is a problem which needs solution, and through the solution, money comes. So there was a value differential. You have yam, 3 tubers. I have maize, one bowl. You are telling me that your 3 tubers of yam is equal to 5 bowls of maize. I said, no, my 5 bowls of maize should give me 32 bags of yam. Problem. There was a need differential. I have yam, you have maize. Me, I don't want maize. I want beans. So you have to take your maize, go and look for somebody who have beans and needs maize. You go and exchange that one before you come and exchange for my yam. So need differential. Mobility limitation. Your yam, you can't move it around. So that is where people started making carts, donkey carts, horse carts. So if you have your goods, let me move it from one point to the other. That was where transportation started. And that is somebody's innovation in business. So we then saw people beginning to make carts and they began to sell the cart. So if I give you a cart, you give me maize. If I give you a cart, you give me beans. If I give you a cart, you give me oil. Then storage. My whole occupation is to produce tomatoes. But I can't store the tomatoes for long. So within the shortest time, for me, I have nothing to exchange for other commodities. Then it was a problem. So there was a need for somebody to think. So once those problems started coming up, people had to innovate with their what? Skill and energy. So the innovation came from derivatives. Derivatives is you driving something from another thing. So oranges, you get orange juice from it. That is a derivative. So yam, you get potato chips. So plantain, you get plantain chips, which can stay a longer period. So then people then began to innovate and then convert. That is where we talk about value addition. So you are in the community, everybody's doing things the same way. How do I add value? The cocoa seller is the same rubber bag he's using every day. We all go and buy, we are complaining. I'm going, the rubber fell and burst. The rubber is too hot, I can't even drink. There is nobody thinking to innovate this process. Kose, we still go and it is that old age floor, ground things. Somebody should be able to innovate and make it more presentable. So that was what began to happen. Storage models, people began to build silos and storage units. Transport systems came up. So the challenges they faced, people took advantage of it with their skill and their energy. And through that, they made money. They became wealthy. So the fact at that time was that trade by barter was their own currency. So they didn't have paper money, they didn't have Ghana cedis, they didn't have dollars, they didn't have pounds. All they had was their valuables which they exchanged. So we say money is a medium of exchange. That is where we got that concept or that definition from. With the derivatives coming up, the transport systems coming up, people started building industries. And these industries needed people to be trained. So they now take somebody, you have skill, you have energy, but we have to now model that skill in the field we want it. So when you see education in the past wasn't supposed to make you wealthy, or you didn't go to school in those days to come out and make money to become wealthy. You went to school to be modeled, to be able to function in your master's vineyard or plantation. So that's why in the olden times, when you meet anybody who was around in the 1930s, 1960s, they called education discipline. They say, in what discipline are you trained? What is your discipline? You see? But today we say, what is your program did you study? I say, I studied accounting, and we are proud. I studied economics. In those days, that wasn't it. Education was for slaves. When I buy you, I will send you for you to be trained in my farm. This is how I want the mouths to be made. This is how I want the harvesting to be done. So today, we cannot go to school and come out and want to be employees and become wealthy. It will never happen. That hasn't been the concept. The concept was that the employee, even in those days, the money was always paid to the slave master. It's just that now we have a level of liberty that the money comes to us. Great. So they didn't have any banking systems in those days. until there was now the need that when you have a slave in your plantation, you have to pay the person. How then do we pay you? People were accumulating maize, so they didn't have space to keep it. So they said, okay, let us find a way of remeasuring our wealth. So let us use gold, which is a precious material. So they say if you have 10 bags of maize, it is worth 3 pieces of gold. So people now converted all their resources into gold. People converted all their resources now into gold. So if you have maize, instead of me giving you a banana, I'll just give you a level of gold, a measure of gold, and take the maize which I want. And that was how come the gold deposit system started. So because gold too was now becoming weightier, they said, okay, everybody bring your gold to a particular deposit place. When you owe somebody or you buy something from somebody, you give the person a note, which we call promissory note. So I'm promising to give you 3 pieces of gold in exchange for 5 tubers of yam. So you now send it to the gold deposit, and then they'll give you my gold to put in your own. You will not take the gold home. They'll just reschedule it like the banking we have today, that if I'm transferring 10 cedis to you, they'll take it from my account and put it in your account. So that is how the gold system was also working. Until people now became so people now started exchanging even the promissory note than going to the bank or going to the deposit to make the gold exchange. So if you come and I'll give you promissory note for 3 tubers, you also take the same note and go and give to somebody and collect 5 bowls of maize. Then all of a sudden, people began to forget about the gold they have, and that paper was the one now moving around. Then those that were managing the gold now said, if the people are okay with the paper, let's print more paper. So they will be exchanging promises instead of we having to come and be changing the gold. So that gold deposit was called a clearinghouse, which the banks still work with today. So if you send a check, you send Stanbic Bank check to ADB. ADB will pay you the money, but at the end of the day, they'll go to the clearinghouse to do the exchange. So ADB, we have paid Stanbic 10 checks worth 100,000. Stanbic, we have paid ADB checks worth 20,000. So Stanbic Bank or ADB, you are owing us 80,000. Then they'll do the exchange. So that clearing system is still working. So when you look at the pound, when you look on it, the red highlighted place, you see it is written, I promise to pay the bearer on demand the sum of £5. So that was what we called promissory note. So that paper wasn't money. It was just like me signing a document to show that I owe you. So go and collect gold from my deposit. Do we understand? But because of the complication of the gold exchange system, people forgot about the gold and were now relying on the currency, the paper money, until today. So that's why when you come into economics, that paper money is called fiat money. It's not real money. It is fake money. That paper should have been backed with gold by now. So if you have 100 cedi in your pocket, you should have been having some pieces of gold. You should have been an owner of gold. And that's how come all the gold has been moved to England. England, they don't mine gold, but they have the biggest gold reserve in England. How did they get it? It's because they introduced this paper money and now move all the gold to their reserves. So today, we still do exchange. We exchange our Ghana cedi for US dollars. We exchange our pounds for euros and all that. And that has been the trend. Now we have moved into an era called the digital age or the digital era, where the paper money is now losing its relevance. So we have seen different stages until we are now witnessing another stage of transition. In the next 30, 40 years, our children will not see paper as money. Even today in the US, when you go and you pull out paper money to buy things, they look at you some way. All they use is credit cards and debit cards. You swipe, and then the money is deducted from your card, and you go. Nobody carries cash. And that is what our finance minister too have been talking about, the ECD. So it is coming. So there will be a time that you will not have these physical Ghana cedis we have. All your money will be in wallets and cards. So that is where we are going. That is what is called the digital age. So financial literacy is something that keeps evolving. So the point is that you need to continue to learn. You need to acquire new skills. For you to amass that wealth, you need to continue to learn and acquire new skills. Discover new ways of doing things. So I'm a teacher, I'm a nurse, but my nursing salary, my teaching salary, my accountant salary is not enough. I need to learn new ways of doing things. I need to acquire new skills. I need to learn how to drive. I need to learn how to weave or do something. Acquire new skills. Move from manpower to brain power. Instead of working with your physical body, work with your brain. It is somebody's brain that brought about Facebook. Somebody's brain brought about this platform we are using. Zoom and all these Google Meet. It's somebody's brain. Instead of manpower. You can't go and farm 10 acres of land today. The land is even losing the nutritional value. So you plant, you don't get the required output. But it's now moved into brain power. We have to move from the mind to the mind. So instead of mining the gold, which is no longer there, we have to mine the gold that is in our head, in our mind. So you have to either be informed or you be deformed. You have to be updated or you are outdated. See, in the olden there were some computers very huge. Today they are nowhere to be found. Some typewriters, they are nowhere to be found. Computers have taken over because they refuse to be updated. If you have iPhone and you don't update it to the latest operating system, you can't use it. The phone will be outdated. If you are not in the known, you cannot be in the flow. There are sometimes you go for certain programs, certain meetings, and the stuff the people are discussing, you are completely lost. So you can imagine you go for a meeting and they are discussing cryptocurrency. You have never heard what cryptocurrency is. You are lost. You cannot be in the flow. That's not the time you'll be asking a friend, Charlie, what is cryptocurrency? So you have to learn, and these are the platforms. What you know determines how far you go. What you know determines how far you go. So we now define money. So we say money is power. And once you have the energy and the skill, you have power. And when you look at Deuteronomy 8:18, it says, but thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, which for it is he that giveth thee power to get wealth. So money comes from power. Okay. If you have mind power, you have money. If you have brain power, you have money. That's what, no wonder they call it brain power. Once you use your brain to become innovative, then the currency will flow. So what then is the purpose of money? Money is a tool for fulfillment of purpose. It is what you have and can exchange for what you want. It is a medium of exchange and not currency. So if you have, so most of us who are salary workers, we have time. We are exchanging our time for currency. So you get up, you have to go to school from, teachers, sorry, I'm using a lot because I'm more familiar with teachers. You have to go 8 o'clock until 2 o'clock. You have exchanged about 5 to 6 hours of your time for a monthly pay. So it is an exchange you are still doing. Just that we now convert that value into currency and give it to you. Currency is a reward for solving problems, and you need to continue to learn to be informed. So we are now going to look at certain definitions when it comes to financial literacy, so that we can know where exactly we find ourselves. Financial crisis. So according to the United Nations, it says living below $2 a day, you are considered as a poor person. You are living in poverty. $2 is how much now? That's about 30 Ghana cedis. So if you live below 30 cedis a day, you are poor. That's what UN is telling us. And if you live below $1 a day, that's extreme poverty. So we can now classify ourselves whether we are poor or we are average. Because if you don't know where you are, you cannot work towards helping yourself out. Okay, so this is on a daily basis. If you are living below $2, then you are in poverty, and that's financial crisis. The second stage is financial instability. So on this stage, you are gainfully employed with a regular income source, but the take home cannot take you home. You are gainfully employed with a regular income source. So I'm a doctor. Every month I have salary coming in, but the salary that comes in cannot meet my expenditure. So you are financially unstable, because even though you are having money coming through, the day that money stops coming, then you are going into poverty line. Then we have financial stability. So this person has a car, he has a bungalow, he's making foreign travels, he has family health care or insurance. But all these things are sponsored based by the job that he's having or by the position he's holding. So you see most of our public office holders, directors, MPs, you see them riding big cars, they have bungalow, life is comfortable. But the moment they go on retirement, and the person is now hot. Some of them, they now hit 60 and they want contract job. And it's now that contract money they want to use to now build house, because they forgot that the bungalow they were living in is not for them. So this person is financially stable, because for the meantime, yes, life is cool, life is enjoyable. So they mostly have transactional friends or high lifestyle. So transactional friends are friends you have purely based on business terms. So you see the person flying business class with certain business people, but the moment you are out of that position, you cannot get those favors again. Like our minister, that was the interior minister. Whenever he was coming, you see a convoy following him, about 10, 15 cars. But now he's no longer interior minister. Maybe 3 or 4 cars will follow him. That was a lifestyle because of the position he held. And most people are deceived by this. We fail to build a house because we have a bungalow we are living in. When they now go on retirement, they don't want to vacate the bungalow because they didn't plan. They didn't have financial literacy. Financial independence. The income from your assets and your investment is enough to take care of all your needs with overflow. So now you are getting into comfort zone. So your assets are generating income for you. Your investments are generating income for you. We'll look at what assets are. Some of us, we acquire liabilities and we call them assets. So we're looking at return on investment. So if I put 100 cedis in this business, can I be getting 50 cedis every year? These assets I have bought a car. I'm calling it an asset. Is the car giving me money? I have bought a television, it's sitting in my house, consuming power. My electricity has increased. Am I getting the required returns from that television? Am I getting the information I want? Am I getting the entertainment I want? Maybe you are somebody very busy. So your only source of entertainment is you to come home and watch a very nice movie and cool down your brain. The TV is an asset for you in that regard. But if you are somebody, you close 2 o'clock, you come home and watch TV till 12 o'clock and you sleep, and all you are watching is Kukum Bagya, which will not take you anywhere. The TV is a liability, because at the end of the month, light bill will come and you have to pay. So that is financial independence. At this stage, you are building assets that are generating income. You are building investments. So if you don't have assets, you don't have investment, you have to know that you are not financially independent. Financial freedom, the income from your assets and your investment is enough to take care of all your needs and take care of the needs of others, which overflow. So at this stage, you see people now setting up foundation. You see Tony Elumelu Foundation. You see Bill Gates Foundation. You see MasterCard Foundation. So people have made money to the extent that they cannot eat it. Their family can never finish it in 10 years. So they now set up foundation and put people there to help them distribute the money. So go to Africa, go and give people scholarship to go to school. Because he has the money, he doesn't know what to do with it. That is found somebody that is financially freedom or financially free. But some of us, we are not financially free, but we have put a whole lot of baggage on ourselves. And the youth, I was talking about, one guy came to work for us. He did a short-term work for about 4 months and collected the money, about 5,000. He get 5,000 in 4 months. And he came to me, I was like, he wants the money to go and pay his brother's school fees, who is attending Xavier. And I said, so looking at your family background, Nandon Sec, you don't pay school fees. And the value the guy would have gotten is the same. Even WASEC or any other school, if the person is serious, he can make it. So unless the man asked who took the guy to Xavier, and he mentioned the person. So I'm like, so the person's school fees is not your responsibility. You are a young guy who has finished SS. You still have you yourself, you need to be educated. And you're taking your money and putting somebody's responsibility on yourself. And the school fees he was going to pay would have taken more than half of the money he earned. So I say, you can't go anywhere. Because if you are just starting life and you are paying school fees more than half of your income, so how do you survive? It's not that you should become too hard. You shouldn't help people. But in Africa, we tend to kill the egg, the fowl before it begins to lay eggs. So the person starts life, begins to make small money, and all our problems are now directed to the person. So he ends up staying at financial instability level. He's not able to move to financial independence, let alone moving to financially being free. Okay, but most of us, that is all, we are too sympathetic. It's good to be sympathetic, but how far can your sympathy go? If you are hard today and tomorrow you can help 10 people, it's better than being soft today by helping one person and tomorrow you are both poor. All right, so some statistics. About 33% of Africans are financially literate. Only 33% of Africans. So the remaining 67%, we just spend our money anyhow. We live our life anyhow. To God be the glory. Financial literacy rate in Ghana is about 32%. So the 33% is the African average. But when they did the study, Ghana is around 32%. So out of every 100 people, only 32 people are financially literate. The remaining 68 people are not financially literate. And when you come to the gender distribution, the men are more financially literate than women. That is what the study is saying. It's 33 against 30. So our women, we need to, because I know there are some women at the end of the month, they take their salary and give it to their husband. You are the man of the house, manage it for us. It's good, but as a woman, the woman too must be able to direct some of the financial decisions in the family. So I wanted us to go through what we call the financial literacy test. I will run through the questions very fast so that in 3 minutes or 5 minutes we can finish it. So this financial literacy test will now diagnose your status. To diagnose your status and you know where you are. So it's about 26 questions, quite a lot. So I'm going to be moving very, very, very fast. So if you have a paper with you or you have a jotter with you, design something like what you are seeing. So you have question number, then you have yes, no, and then you have I don't know. Those are the responses. So you can actually just have the numbering. You don't need to do the 4 columns. You just have number one. If number one, your response is yes, you write yes. If your response is no, or if your response is yes, just write Y. If it's no, you write N. If it's I don't know, you write K. Then we move. Are we good? We want to diagnose ourselves and know where we stand.
Yes, we can.
How
We can go.
All right. So question one, do you know your present financial condition or net worth? So net worth is simply if you take your total assets minus your liabilities. Do you know where you stand? When you take all the people you owe, put them on one side. Take all the things you have, if we value it in money terms and we subtract, do you know where you stand? Or you will still be owing some people? So yes or no. If you know it, you write yes or no. Number two, are you satisfied with your present financial condition? So maybe after you pay all the people you owe, you have nothing. you have bank loan 50,000. If you take the land you have bought, the structure you are putting up and we value it, it's also 50,000. We net it off, you are on ground zero. Or if we do it, you are on negative, you are still owing people. Are you satisfied with your condition? Number three, are you aware of simple ways to increase your net worth? So if yes, you write Y. If no, you write N. Number four, do you have enough savings to see you through 6 months if you lose your job? So let's say we are in June, we're in July. If today's 2nd July, they send you a letter and say, okay, on the way things are going, Ghana is hard, so we want to let some people go. Would you be able to survive for the next 6 months if your salary doesn't come? So assuming you are earning, let's say 4,000 per month, 4,000 per month, it means by now you should have 24,000 Ghana cedis sitting in a savings account. That will put you in comfortable lead. So if anything happens shaking, you know that in the next 6 months, you will not go and beg anybody, but at least you use that 6 months to get another job or to start a business. So yes or no. Number five, do you save money on a regular basis? Now the key term here is regular basis. It's not that you save in January, you go and save in March, you go and save in July. No. Do you save on a regular basis? So every month. Number six, have you formed the habit of savings? So the habit of saving is that you now develop a passion for saving. And that is what you have to develop in your children. They have to develop that habit right from start. So that when you give them 10 cedis, they know that I have to put 2 cedis in my wallet or in my savings box. I keep my piggy box and know that, okay, the 8 cedi I can use it for something else. That is how you develop the habit. Have you developed that habit, or you are now working on it? So if you have not developed, it's a no. Do you have well-defined documents or well-defined or documented financial goals? So by the end of 2024, I want to have this amount in my account. I want to finish my project. I want to finish my school, or I want to start a course. How are you going to finance it? Do you have a well-documented or defined financial goals? Number 8, do you have a bank account? Well, the salary earners will be forced to have bank accounts, but the business owners in our midst, most of them are shy of banks. And it is no good. Because if you are doing business and you don't have a bank account, there's no transaction history, you can be making millions, but you cannot prove it to anybody because all your money is cash based. Do you reconcile your bank statement every month? So our salary comes and hit the account 4,000. Then we'll go to ADB, we'll write our account number for the cashier, and they'll write the balance for us. And we'll say, okay, give me 3,800. The remaining 200, you are not watching to know what happened to it. You are waiting for the next month for another 4,000 to come in. And you go and take 3,800. You have never gone to print your bank statement to see, how much are these bankers charging me? Sometimes they charge you for email message. They charge you for SMS message. They charge you for ATM card. Meanwhile, you have never used the ATM card. You don't even know where it is, and they are charging you. They are sending you email. They are sending you SMS. What do you need them for? SMS is okay. So they should cancel the email. You are saving money. Do you keep a record of your income and expenditure, or you just spend? Sometimes you now where has this money gone? Or some of the money has gotten missing. So mostly what I do now is that I use electronic payment, but though it comes with charges, but it helps me to track my expenditure. I'll pay you from my bank account directly. I'll transfer it to you. Boom, I'll transfer it to you. And when I'm sending, I don't type one in the reference. I type what it is for. Then you are sending thing, they say put the reference, you type one. Tomorrow, what does the one mean? You are paying for fuel, put it there, fuel. You are buying yam, put it there, food stuff. So that tomorrow you can pick your statement and go through. This is how much I spend on call credit. This is how much I spend on food. This is how much I spend on fuel. So you now ask yourself, so from here to my workplace and coming back, do I really have to spend this amount of fuel? Then you realize that from workplace you pass through some unnecessary places, and to help you cut down on expenditure. Do you know how much you spend, especially every month? This is linked to the previous question. So every month, you know what exactly you need to survive. Well, food, clothing, core credit, the basic things. You need to know so that you cut away the excesses. No, well, we don't know how much we need to survive. The last time I checked how much I spent on data and call, and I was like, so who at all do I call? No, so I changed the plan. I changed the plan. You see, but if you are not watching it, you all the time you are complaining you don't have money, you don't have money. So assuming you are paid 4,000 Ghana cedis a month, or let's even say 2,500 a month. In 12 months, that's 30,000 Ghana cedis. That's in a year. And you ask yourself, where did this 30,000 pass? In 1 year, 30,000, where did it pass? But you don't know the expenditure, so that it will help you to cut it off, to cut down. So do you know how much you spend, especially every month? Do you spend less than you earn? Or every month we have to go and do what we call credit purchase. So the money has come. That's why some of us in the Dagari we call it sanyo. Then you collect them, go and pay debt, and take another debt. You have to work at turning the situation around. There are certain things you really don't need. You have 2 pairs of shoe as a man. It's okay. 2 pairs is okay. 1 black shoe, 1 brown shoe. You are fine. Just keep it clean. As a man, 3 pairs of trousers. You are fine. Just keep changing the shirts. Nobody will know your trousers are only 3. But we have clothing we have never worn. We wear it only once, and that's all. We won't wear it again. Wedding gown. You wear it only once in your lifetime. You're going to spend 12,000 to buy a wedding gown. Do you have a household budget, and are you successful at managing it? Yes or no? Do you avoid major credit purchases? Yes or no? Do you take advantage of all savings and investment opportunities that come your way? Do you take advantage of all savings and investment opportunities that come your way? So someone was telling me that in South Africa, you are actually forced, or you are encouraged to save. You are not forced, but you are encouraged to save. So if you go to open a bank account right now, they'll give you 2 account numbers. You didn't ask for 2 accounts, but they'll give you 2 account numbers. One is for savings account, the other one is for a current account. So they are making savings easy for you. And then you can now put in automatic debit instructions. Every month my salary can transfer 500 into this account, which I cannot access until maybe a certain period of time. Do you have any investment that helps you reduce your tax income, your taxable income? So for me, I say that our tax system is very unfair to employees. Because as an employee, you are also like a business. When you start from January 1st, you are going to work until 31st January. You incur certain expenses. You buy fuel, you eat food, and you, there are certain expenses you incur before you are able to get that salary at the end of the month. But the government will not tell you, okay, deduct all your expenditure and will not tax what is left. Now, for a business owner, if you make 30,000 revenue, they'll ask you, okay, what expenditure did you incur to make that revenue? You deduct everything. What is left, they will not tax that one. So that's why a lot of rich people they set up businesses. That do you diversify your income or your investment? Do you put them in different places or you just have one place, treasury bills? Are you satisfied with the contribution from your investment to your total income? So this is very key. Let's say you are a worker, go to work from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. How many hours? 7 hours. At the end of the month, you are paid 4,000. Now take 7 hours times average 25 days in a month. That's 175 hours in a month you have given to the government. Now divide the 4,000 by 175 hours. It means that every hour the government is paying you 22 cedis. Or if you convert 23 cedis for every hour you give to the government, they realize that the return on investment is no good. How can I put in 1 full hour, 60 minutes, and collect 22 cedis? You see? So in that case, you now begin to think, I have to get back up. Somebody puts 1,000 Ghana cedis in a month and he gets 500 cedis by the end of the month. So your return on investment, 500 over 1,000, that's 50%. 50% of what you have put in. So that is how you can you realize that no, I have to take some financial decisions and improve my level. Number 19, do you feel you have a brilliant financial advisor or team of advisors? This one I know most of it will be no. Number 20, do you feel you have sufficient life insurance coverage? Life insurance coverage. We are not saying that we are going to die, but in case of the unforeseen, is there something you can fall on? Do you have a plan for your children's college and university education? Or you just give birth? God has blessed us with children. There's no plan. 22. Do you own a house? 23. Do you have a plan to retire in comfort? So if you don't have this plan, by the third day, we'll help you to have one. 24. Have you prepared your will? Have you prepared your will? When we say a will, when people think that, oh, once you do it, tomorrow you are going to die. Or a will is for people who have mansions and so much access to give out. No, it is just to protect your immediate family. Some people, they die and the children cannot get hold of anything. Even the little motorbike you are having, the uncles will come and collect it. And they are suffering. So as soon as you have some few assets to lay hold on, you can prepare a simple will. Okay, and you don't need to engage a lawyer. When you go to social welfare, they have free legal systems there that can help you put it together and make it valid. Are you in control of your financial future? Are you satisfied with the contributions you have made to the world? So if God calls you today, will you say that when you kill, you have made a positive impact on the face of the earth?
I have a question. On the first day we're talking about investing, and these days that letting your money work for you and other things. These days too, we are not committed. Let me say we as a general. You put people in your business, and when you are not around, things seem not to be working. So what do you want to do? Let's say you want to you are having a business. I am into provisions. We do distribution in the northeast region. But at times when I move for 1 month, when I come back, I don't like the way things are moving. So what do I do? And I also have to move around because I'm a nurse who teaches at a nurses training college as well. So it's something I'll be worried about, combining the business with the work. And I mean, need full time in both instances. So that's my question. What
Yes.
do I do now?
Okay. Okay. That's very good. Very, very, very valid um, concern. Should we take one more? Then I respond to it.
Yes, thank you so much for the opportunity. And I would just like to share on the very first day this topic was launched, the financial literacy. I must be honest that from the lecture the facilitator gave up to the financial intelligence assessment using the tool and the questionnaire of 25. After we went through, in fact, that day I laid down in my room and then I've been actually thinking about it because I got to realize that going through it, almost close to 3 were applicable to me. And about 21 are sort of like not applicable to me. So I was asking myself a question: how do I overcome or how do I fit into this questionnaire so that it will actually change my life after this training? That has been the thought in my mind, and I'm seeing it so big because ranging from the investments, likewise the savings and whatnot, I just got to realize that I'm out of context. And I think today I might get a lasting solution to this defect that I just realized. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad to hear this. Okay, so I'm showing the scoring sheet of the test we went through. Taking it from the last question or the second question. Yes, the questionnaire is designed to provoke our minds. So mostly we know of something subconsciously, but we don't take our time to actually then assess to know what the extent of impact is. So for instance, like I've cited, so when you're looking at financial intelligence, we've also indicated to you that it is a build on, it's a continual educational program. So you will not stop here. Beyond the questionnaire, we'll look at it, get to know where you have weaknesses, your strength area. So when you look at the what I'm currently displaying, if you have about 0 to 4 no's or I don't know. So the no and I don't know are more of the same options. So if your I don't know or your no's in those 26 questions are up to 4, it means, or are just within 0 to 4, it means you are doing quite well. You're doing quite well. So we'll encourage you to keep it up. But if you have between 5 to 10, then you are on the right track. Then if your no's are 11 to 12, then you have weak pulse. If you are a medical doctor and you understand weak pulse. By the medical fraternity, if they say you have weak pulse, it means the person is on the verge of losing your life. So you need revival, right? And then if you are above 13 no's, then you really need an emergency attention. So we'll share that file maybe after today or some other day. Then you fill it out, we'll get the results. Then we'll reach out to you. We want this to be a journey we have started together. It's not just going to be that we'll have a 3-day, 4-day session and that is it. So the second question person, as we go on today and tomorrow, you will definitely get some solutions to where you are currently. But then beyond that, the relationship will continue. The first question, Mr. Kofi, I'm happy we have a business person in our midst. It's good. You have a paid job and you are trying to put up a business on your own. When we get to the very end of this session, we'll see where you fit in something we call the cash flow quadrant. But coming to your situation, you have a business where when you leave, things don't go well. It requires your constant presence, your constant watching. So in that situation, what we recommend is that depending on the strength of your business, you will need to put in a management structure. Now, the management structure is supposed to take off that headache from you. So you put somebody in as a manager who is responsible for ensuring what you do when you are around. Now, the manager doesn't just work in isolation. There's what we call internal control. So it's a whole business infrastructure that you have to formalize. Sometimes we say our business is too small, we don't need certain things, but it is those little things that actually put it in check. So there's a business in Tamale where I currently engage with them as their internal auditor. The business is not very big, but they saw the need that they needed to put in certain internal controls, and that is what you use to check the system. So once you have those internal controls, you have certain key elements that you can easily watch as a businessman. So as a business owner, one thing you have to monitor is your cash your working capital. So if you put in 2,000 Ghana cedis in your business, by a month's time, you expect that a 2,000 should either become a 2,500 or worst of all, remain a 2,000. Once you realize that your working capital is now going below the 2,000, it means there's a capital leakage somewhere. Either there's a capital leakage or your business is profitable. So that is one of the metrics you can use to easily track whether your business is on the right footing. So your case will need to have a separate session where we look at how we can deal with the business survival and sustainability, because we have to know what exactly how the structure is, how the system is run. Then we suggest certain internal controls so that wherever you are as a nurse, you can have your eyes on it. There are certain financial applications that you can use to monitor how your funds are moving, how your inventory. That is very, very critical. You say you run a provision business. That the inventory is very, very critical, because I know in that space the margins are very, very little. So if you don't have your eyes on the inventory, just one box of a particular product going behind your site can cost you a whole lot. So Mr. Kofi, that is what I will say for the meantime. Beyond this program, we can still engage further and see how we can work things out. I hope that is okay.
Yes, I'm fine, sir. So I will take your contact and then we'll see. So that, thank you so much. I'm grateful.
Thank you. So going right into today's session. So let me just do a recap what we did on the first day. So we tried to look at what money is, where exactly we make our money from, the concept of currency, how it has transitioned over the decades, and where we are and where we are going to. So that is what we've tried to look at. And we established the fact that money or wealth is generated from your energy and your skill. Your energy and your skill. These are the two things basically you need to be able to generate wealth. Education, when we were growing, they say go to school, get a good grade, get a good job, a well-paid job, and then you'll be fine. That structure was only teaching people to be average. But even today, that average, you are not getting it anymore, because the unemployment rate is overwhelming. And that is because the societal need has transitioned out of what the school is providing. What I'm currently providing now, nobody taught me a course in the university which has this. So you realize that there's a mismatch. Okay, so today we want to continue. So we're wrapping up by saying that money is actually equal to the value we provide. Money is equal to the value you provide. So you see a doctor being paid more, a lawyer being paid more, and a nurse being paid smaller. It's not that the nurse, the person himself is not valuable, but then you have a lot of people providing that service. So in that case, that service becomes common. It is no longer a scarce commodity. And it's also the interplay of demand and supply. So where you have a lot of teachers, a lot of nurses, a lot of accountants, then your value begins to drop. It's like you having so much rice in the system. The value of rice will drop. But if you have a commodity like yam that is very scarce, then the value increases. So once you are in a certain space and you realize that the value I am providing is dropping because of the concentration of my kind, then you have to shift yourself into providing more superior value. And value comes in your possession of certain qualities. So we're looking at the person's tolerance level. Now we're speaking of emotional intelligence. You interview people, you pick them on a job, and they cannot submit to an authority. So you will not be valuable in the system. Your integrity level. There are a lot of foreigners we meet, and they are complaining that Africans are not the people to do business with because they are just dishonest. The person is suffering in the village. You think of helping by sharing the burden, and he feels that he's entitled to what you are giving to him. So that dishonesty is just unbearable in the system. So your money level or your wealth level is tied to the value you are offering. Right. Now, in offering value, we have something we call leverage. So you have a strength area, but you want to achieve another thing. But what the resource you have is not enough to achieve that bigger picture you want. So we have a concept we call leverage. So use what you have to get what you want. Use what you have to get what you want. So there's a story of two young men who were walking into a temple. A beggar asked them for alms, gold and silver. They told him they did not have, but they had a spiritual gift that they could give to this beggar. But their focus was to win the soul of the beggar. But then they didn't have the gold and silver the beggar wanted, but they had a spiritual gift which they gave to him and eventually won his soul. So it works in the same principle. You have 1,000 Ghana cedis. Your objective is to make a 50,000 Ghana cedis. Then we call it leveraging. So you use what you have now to earn what you want in the future. Now, another way to leverage is your influence. Some of us, we don't have money, we don't have the capital, but we can really talk. You can appeal to people. The marketing space is there. I engaged with someone who does marketing with an insurance company, and I was amazed to hear that they are paid based on the clients you get. So you get a number of clients, and you have a number of years you'll be paid. So assuming in 2024, you are able to make 100 clients, and based on the 100 clients, your net income comes to 1,500 per month. They will continue paying you this 1,500 per month for at least the next 2 or 3 years. So it doesn't really depend on you bringing in new clients again. The fact that you have made these 100 in 2024, they will pay you this 1,500 all the way to 2027. I believe there will be certain clauses, but this is a good one to add to any other job that I am doing. So we call that leverage. So to conclude on where we started on the first day, we say work is the process of exchanging your time for money. So if you wake up in the morning, 8 o'clock, you go to your workplace, you are actually exchanging your time. So you could have spent those hours on another occupation or for yourself, just relaxing. But you have decided, you have chosen to exchange those hours to your employer in return for a wage at the end of the month. So when you say financial success is not a hard science, it is a soft skills where how you behave is more important than what you know. So like I indicated on the first day, your knowledge will only be displayed by your behavior. If you have the knowledge and you are not and you're behaving contrary to it, then it's as though you are not knowledgeable in that field. And we say the hardest financial skill is getting the goalpost to stop moving. Getting the goalpost to stop moving. So we often set New Year resolutions. Oh, as for this year, I'm going to discipline myself. I will not drink 3 bottles a day again. I will not roam out about aimlessly again. I'm going to start my house project. A lot of ambitious New Year resolutions. But the question is, how do we stay committed to it? I think one of the questionnaires, the people who asked the question spoke about commitment. How do we stay committed to it? So if you have, let's say on a football pitch, your aim is to score a goal. That if that pole is not fixed at a certain place, which is constant, you would not be able to score that goal, because anytime you shoot for the pole, then the pole shifts. So until in our lives we're able to stop the goalpost from moving around, then we can never score a goal. You can never achieve the target. So the goalpost here is our objective. I want to be able to save 30,000 by the close of 2024, starting from July. That is the objective. Now, you have to then look at your own lifestyle. There are certain things you have to cut away, certain things you have to readjust. So let's say you have reduced certain expenditure in July, August, and by September you have put it back in. It will not help. It will not help. It's all right. We just have a certain desire to eat certain delicacy of food. You want to eat pizza every week. Oh, the whole of last month I've not eaten pizza, and it's like it's a haram. So you have to definitely appease that pizza boss. So you have to be committed to cutting off certain things in our lives. So knowing is not enough, we must apply. And willing is not enough, we must do. That is by a renowned man called J.W. Van. So how do we build wealth? How do we build wealth? All this plenty talk is about we moving from our current status into financial stability, financial independence, financial freedom. So number one is what we are currently doing. We need to acquire the knowledge. And by acquiring the knowledge, we need to learn, we need to unlearn, and we need to relearn. There are certain concepts or ideologies we have currently that we have to do away with. And that is always the difficult part, the unlearning aspect. The unlearning aspect. And then you have to now relearn to take away what you knew and then put in a new operating system. So yesterday, my colleague, Mr. Jamani, he gave us a very beautiful definition of savings, which most of us had a wrong concept about. You see, the second thing, we have to be disciplined and self-control. So that is about you keeping the goalpost from moving. Keep it at where it is. If your objective is this, that must be it. No matter the situation, unless it is an extraordinary demand for you to shift that objective, you must stay committed. Then we're also looking at risk management. So yesterday too, we looked at the various types of risk positions. You are either a risk lover, a risk averse, or a risk neutral. So a risk neutral is somebody who doesn't I don't really care whichever way it goes, whether it goes in my favor or it goes against me. I'm neutral. A risk lover is somebody who wants to, okay, you're telling me if I put a 1,000, I can make a 20,000. Well, that is something that is unthinkable, but I'm ready to do it. This person takes risks without thinking. Then the risk averse is now somebody who is saying that for me, anything risk, I am not in for it. So my place is, let me go and do my job for government to pay me. That business thing, I am not in for it. But here we are saying that let us take calculated risks. That is now where we are talking about risk management. So if you are going into business, there is what we call risk mitigation. You can take an insurance. So you bought a vehicle, you want to put on the road to be moving from Wa to Jirapa. Don't take third-party insurance. Third-party, the insurance will not pay for the vehicle if it incurs an accident. It will only compensate any third party who is involved in the accident. So you go for a comprehensive, knowing that okay, my vehicle is protected. Whatever the driver does on the road, my eyes are not there to see. But in case of the unthinkable, the insurance company will compensate me, either get me a new vehicle or an amount almost equal to me being able to get a new vehicle. That is what we call risk mitigation. So you buy a vehicle, you put it out there, it gets an accident, you are even paying the loan for the vehicle, and now the vehicle is not there. So you realize that you have now moved from zero into negative. That is not the best. So we're looking at various risk management policies you can take. There are others we call hedging. Yesterday, someone asked if it is good to buy dollars with your Ghana cedis. In certain situations, it is good, but when you look at the broader effect on the economy, then you want to say that it is not good. But if you are a business person and you really need to hedge against the devaluation, especially if you do your business in foreign currencies, then it's good to hold certain hard currencies that when you go to buy your things, you are easily able to use that to buy. So for instance, these days, a lot of our sisters and mothers, they import things from China. Nothing stops you from holding some of your Ghana cedis in a dollar denominated account, because whenever you are buying the things, you pay them in dollars. Some even take in pounds. So once you are holding the hard currency, you just transfer that to the person. So you are hedging against that currency fluctuation that we Ghana, we are always at the losing end. We actually call it fluctuation, but it fluctuates in the negative aspect for us. If it's fluctuating, it should go positive and come negative. Then we know it is swinging. But where we find ourselves, we don't enjoy the fluctuation. Then we're also looking at networking and mentorship. Networking and mentorship, very, very, very key. Especially with those of us who have businesses, we need to be able to build other business partners. Other business partners. Like my brother shared yesterday, we have various ways of raising money for our businesses. It's not just the loans, it's not just maybe from what you have currently on your own or from friends, which will hardly happen. These days, we have something we call crowdfunding. So there are people who have pulled their resources together. The money is sitting down. They are looking for viable businesses to invest in. So that crowd, and mostly those people, they invest in not for interest returns, but for what we call dividend returns. So they are investing as shareholders. And that aspect, the the interest is very small. We don't even call it interest. You are giving the money, you work after a year, then we look at it, okay, this is the profit, we share part of it. So the person is a shareholder. That is more like other people's money. We call it OPM, other people's money. And with that one, you have more space to operate than you going in for a loan. The loan, the bank is going to give you a whole lot of headache. And most of them, they don't understand how certain businesses operate. So they are just looking at giving the money and policing the money around, which usually it doesn't work like that. Networking, sometimes you have to attend certain business programs. So that one we call it strategic spending. So maybe there's a business seminar happening at Delagio that certain critical strategic people will be there. I will pay that 500 cedis to attend it. Or let's say I know a certain businessman who is operating within my industry. He eats lunch at Delagio, or he eats lunch at Kempinski in Accra. I don't have anything to do with Kempinski, but I cannot meet this man in his office. They will ask me if I have appointment, which I don't have. But at the restaurant, nobody needs appointment to go and sit there. So if I arrive and Dangote is sitting there, I'll take my bowl and go and sit close to him. And at those places, these people are very free. That is where they come down to the societal level. Because sometimes when you get close to them, their world is a very lonely place. So they find ways of getting close to us. Just that our thinking and their thinking is not the same. So by the time they come close to us, we translate them with our poverty thinking, our limitation thinking, and they just shelve back into their lonely zones. But if you go to places like that, you get to meet them, you get to discuss, and they'll share mind-blowing opportunities out there that we never know of. So that is what we call strategic spending. It's not something that should be happening every time, but you are just monitoring the environment and then boom, you take a strategic move. Emotional intelligence, I've spoken about it. You in business too, sometimes you will lose money. So you need to be able to keep your cool. In business, sometimes people will step on your legs, but you don't flare up because business must continue. Business must continue. Unlike some of us in the public sector, you go, your superior is mad at you, and you also give it back to him. Then we move because we are all government employees. In the private system, it cannot work that way. In the business, it cannot work that way because the environment is becoming smaller and smaller, that every now and then you get to meet the same people you have met yesterday. So you need to have that emotional intelligence to be able to always keep your composure. Build multiple streams of income. So like my brother, he's a nurse and he's also operating a business. That is a second stream of income. Quite recently, I heard of a popular man of God. He said he has 13 streams of income. 13 streams of income. So if this person doesn't come out to say this, and people attest to that fact, and we just sit down and feel that, oh, because he's a man of God, he's getting all his money from church members, you see, we'll be deceiving ourselves. But building multiple streams of income is very, very critical in building wealth. One stream cannot do, two cannot do, three, you are now starting. You see, then finally become a shareholder. So those of us who are fortunate to work in private systems, there is a financial should I say organization, or a financial principle where instead of you being paid salaries, the company can give you shares. So those of us in such places, it is an advantage. I know a business in the US that all the employees are shareholders. So they are employees, but they own the business. So you can see the level of commitment these people will put in it, because they know that by the end of the year, if my company makes 1 million, if I'm holding 20%, I mean, I know 200,000 is for me. So as an employee, it's not that your whole salary will be put in shares. Then you will definitely not have anything to live back. But maybe an end of year bonus, which they are declaring, an end of year bonus, 5,000, 10,000. Then there's that option to take shares. You go for the shares, because in the next 5 years, that your single share, which was maybe 2 cedis per share, might become 5 cedis per share. And shares are things you can transfer to your children. But if you are an employee, you are getting salaries. By the time you go on retirement, so that's also part of the retirement planning, which we'll be doing tomorrow, God willing. By the time you are going on retirement, you will retire, but you still have a stake in that business which you were working with. And your children can continue to enjoy that money. You yourself can be lying in the house, and every year when MTN says we have declared dividend of 15%, you know that out of that 15%, I have a stake in it. Somewhere about 2-3 years ago, MTN was floating shares, and it was very, very cheap. You could buy shares on your phone, 1 cedis, 50 pesos, 30 pesos. You could buy them. And all of us, we buy data, we buy credit. This is a business that will continue to make profit. There's no way they can run into loss, because if they realize that the profit they are making is not plenty, they will just send everybody text message and put yes or no. Some of us will not read and press yes, and they'll deduct your money. Free way of making money. And that's what they do these days. We are there a prompt to just come on your phone. And because we are so busy, we don't read the terms and conditions they have put there. And we say yes. And then they keep deducting our money every month. And why don't I own shares in it? Facebook, we all use Facebook, Zoom, Google Meet. All these things, they are making a lot of money. So we need to move into the shareholding stream. Okay. So budgeting and saving. Maybe I would take some few contribution here, maybe just one, then we'll move into budgeting and saving.
Yeah, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
I shared a similar plight like my friend who said he is a nurse and has another stream of business. Initially when you started addressing that issue, my expectation was that you would have preferred some solution that would enable some of us to at least break through. In my case, I have three other streams aside the teaching that I
Mm,
do. I run a
great.
dispensary, I run a provision shop, then I run a
Yes.
drinking shop. And
Okay.
it means what happens is that after school, I hardly have time to do anything. I have to run from
Yes.
here to here to here. And that makes my work so busy. In the night, I
Yes.
sleep, and if my spiritual thinking wasn't right, I might
Mm,
conclude that some witches were
mm.
probably using me to play football. So
Yes.
my expectation was probably that you were going to immediately suggest some simple ways that we could at least that could relieve us of the stress we are going in.
Okay, Mr. Vitus, your point is well made. Thank you so much. I think in my submission, I proposed about two. I said one, you can put in a management system. So as you are a teacher, you have about three businesses running. You can employ somebody who is a manager, a general manager. He is in charge of all the three, coordinating work at all the three of them. But before that person can be effective, there must be systems. So that you use those systems to check the person's performance, whether he's actually delivering on the job or he's just running around and collecting salary. So that is one of the ways of taking the headache from you. So as a teacher, you come home, you only have to collect a report from one person who is a manager controlling or coordinating these three businesses. Because I'm sure they are not mature or they are not big enough for you to have a manager for each of them. So one person should be able to coordinate all these three. And before that person will be effective, the next thing you have to do is to put in internal controls. And as for internal controls, it's a big thing that we cannot discuss here. That is why I suggested to him that beyond this training, we can then have a backdoor one-on-one session where we can understand, because business for this particular training, I believe it was for personal financial development. Then when we now get into the business aspect, that is also a different ball game. Mr. Vitus.
That well said, sir.
Okay.
So I will speak with you behind the doors.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
So we're going into our next major session, which is budgeting and saving. Budgeting and saving. So can someone tell us or what your understanding is about budgeting? As for saving, I think we had a gist of it yesterday. But budgeting, what is it about? Maybe some two people sharing your ideas.
Yeah,
Yes.
please. Budgeting, I'm looking at plan expenditure that you are supposed to have maybe probably in future.
Yes.
That's the understanding of budgeting.
All right. Thank you so much. That is very correct. That is very, very true. Okay. Anyone else? Budgeting, as our brother has put it, is a planned expenditure you intend to execute. But that is just one aspect of it. So as you are planning your expenditure, you are equally supposed to plan the income that will match with the expenditure. So you see, you put down a list of what you intend or what you expect your inflow will be as against what your expenditure will be. And it's usually for a stipulated period. So those of us who are salary earners, we can do a budget for a month. Those of us who maybe we run our businesses, you can have a business budget and a personal budget. If your business pays you every 15 days, you can have a 15-day budget, knowing that, okay, when I collect my business income or pay from my own business, this is how much I am earning. That's against what I'm supposed to be spending. So we say a budget is an estimate of your revenue and your expenses that are made for a specific future period of time. Then we have what we call the fixed budget and then the flexible budget. So a fixed budget is one that usually is very strict. It doesn't change. Flexible one, maybe as the days go by, you can go back and say, okay, I budgeted to spend this on this aspect, but I think I can spend less. Then you go and adjust your budget. I budgeted to spend this, but after going to the market, it is more. So let me adjust my budget. So that is a flexible budget. So this is basically a budget template. So you have your salary stated on one side. So you have your income on one side. You have your expenditure on the other side. So when you look at this, a typical budget, your income sources, you have salary. So first of all, you have to actually now list down your income sources if you have more than one. So where do I think money will come from? Let me write it. Then here, here, here. And after that, you now write the amounts against it. So salary is this amount. Now, when you come to the salary, it's not your gross salary, because from the gross, government will take his tax. Whether economy is hard or it's not hard, government will always collect it. So that's why somebody asked a question, I think yesterday or so, that in this hard system, can we still save and invest? The system is hard, but the government will not stop collecting the tax. So just assume that the government increased the tax amount. Would you say you won't pay? You will pay. So just look at it as though your savings is a form of tax. You are taxing yourself and you'll be committed to it. So you have salary, side hustle, which will comprise any other thing. Maybe the nurses, they do locum, the doctors do locum, any other thing, or even your business. But I don't want to put business income here because sometimes we fail to segregate our business from our personal life, and we end up strangulating the business too. If you have a business, the best thing is that the business should pay you, the business owner. Put yourself on salary. As you are paying your sales girls, pay yourself and let the business be. Don't get up and say, I'm going to school, I don't have money to buy food. Then you go into the business and buy your food. That way you cannot know if the business is self-sustainable. Because by the time you keep taking money to business buying your food, at the end of the month, your salary to part of it has to go back into the business. And you can't really tell whether the business is growing or is stagnant. So side hustle, windfall. So windfall, some of us, we have travel allowances. You know that maybe January I will not be traveling. Next month in February I'll go to Accra. I'll get some travel allowance. I'll go for meetings. I'll get some allowances. All that must be budgeted. It's not something that once it comes you didn't expect it, you just blow it. So we have to put all that into the budget. Then lottery. As for lottery, that one we don't usually capture it as part of financial planning because it is a game of chance, which mostly will not go in your favor. So those of us who are good at the lottery, fine, you can budget it and say, oh, within the month of July, I'll win lotto of 1 million. That one, we cannot talk much. So that is why it is in red. And the savings and investment is also in red because once you now put up all your income together, you have to subtract this last item, savings and investment, before you now think about the expenditure. That is the explanation Mr. Germani gave us yesterday. He said that expenditure is equal to income minus savings, or income minus savings is equal to expenditure. Not that income minus expenditure is equal to savings. That's a wrong formula. So first, the savings and investment must be priority. Just that we have to also ensure that you don't oversave that you can no longer sustain your own life. Then that will not make sense. So that's why I put X percentage. So it's based on how you think, oh, maybe let me start with saving 2% of my monthly salary. Let me start with 5%. Let me start with 2%, 10%, 20%. That was up to you. But we want you to be able to develop that culture, that habit, and then you can gradually grow it. Personally, I have a standing order I did with Access Bank. I was doing an amount for the past 3 years, and just about 2-3 months ago, I asked them to increase it. When it increased, I felt it. I felt it, but now it's kind of normal. It's kind of normal. They just did a deduction yesterday, and I was actually expecting it before yesterday. So I'm now getting used to that increased amount I've grown to. So maybe by December, I will ask them to increase further. Because by the time they are increasing it, I'm now looking at what is left and I'm cutting away certain expenses that I feel are not very necessary. The last time I mentioned that even my call credit and data, I had to do an evaluation of it and cut down how much I spend on that. So savings and investment must be the priority. When you finish with that, you then come to the expenditure side. The needs are always there. For those ones, we don't have to joke with them because that is what is helping you to generate this income. So your transportation, you have to go to work. The food stuff, you have to eat to be healthy. You have to eat very well. It's not that because we want to say we should start eating gari. At least a decent meal is okay. Clothing, we need it. Bills, we have to pay. Our children's school fees, we need to pay. So these ones fall under the needs. Some of us, depending on our own lifestyles, we can have certain needs, then we put them there. Then you come to the wants. The wants, you want to hang out with friends. It's a social environment. You cannot just be an island. So you want to hang out with friends, you need to put an allocation there. In our system here, I think sometimes we say, okay, when we go out, we are 5 guys, we are 4 guys, one person foots the bill. Then the next time we go out, another one will foot the bill. But is that what your budget is supporting? So you go out, maybe the first day you were 3, somebody paid for the 3. On your day, you are 5. You realize that you are going to spend more on the team. But because we are boys, we just struggle and do it. Then maybe some airtime or any other thing we feel that is not very, very critical to our daily survival. So we have some budgeting principles that we'll go through. So principle number 1, we have to set a goal and we have to visualize it. So this is July. By next year, July, I want to be able to buy a simple car. Visualize, see yourself driving in that car. See yourself going to pay for it and being proud of paying for it. And that motivates you to then save towards it. See yourself owning a house and being free from landlord harassment. That will keep the motivation alive. You set the goal and you visualize it. Then you then begin to downsize and substitute. Downsizing means you're cutting off certain unnecessary expenditure, certain unnecessary visits and things, calls, you call people, nothing to talk about. So what is the concern for today? And the credit is going. Then you substitute. Maybe you used to go and buy things every day. You can substitute and start doing bulk purchase. So the fuel you have to use going to the market every day, I just go and buy the things in bulk and come and store it. You are cutting down on your fuel consumption. You buy food for lunch. Think of cooking and sending it to work. Your friends will laugh, but you know what you are doing. Find new sources of income. Find new sources of income. Think around, what else can I do to generate money? Can I provide some home tuition, some home medical care? Can I start a business? Think around. You have some skills that I have a neighbor. Whenever this woman is cooking, I'll just be like, oh God, who would tell this woman that if she opens a restaurant, she will do well? Maybe I'm the one to tell her. You see, but she really knows how to cook. There was some time, one of the festive periods, she gave me the food and it was very nice. You see, so and this is somebody who is also a nurse or I think or a teacher. So if she opens a restaurant, there's no way it will not flourish. Okay, so we find other sources of income, sticking to a budget. So once you're able to prepare a budget, let us stay committed to it. It's going to be difficult for the initial period, but with time, we take it one at a time. Then you remember the big picture. Remember why you are saving. Remember why you started this whole thing, and it will keep you motivated. You also have to review your spending. So after you come up with a budget for July, by the end of July, review and see, was I able to stay within the budget? So I said I'll spend 200 cedis on food. I'll spend 500 on fuel. Was I able to do that? And if you were able to do that, you then ask yourself, are there other ways of further reducing it? So you take it one stage at a time. So maybe you can even start by cutting 50 cedis in the first month. When you're able to do it, then say, oh, this thing is working. Another month, you cut another 50 cedis. Then the mind keeps generating ideas in the face of challenges. If you put it to work, it will get the ideas out. Then find some support. So maybe you are married, you and your wife has a budget, you have a budget. So you are like, okay, keep me in check. Let me also keep you in check. So that you have somebody that is watching you and helping you. Okay, so that is the basic example. You can also have a friend that you feel that you are on this, you are thinking in the same light. You share your budget and you keep each other in check. Then you reward yourself, reward yourself, reward yourself, reward yourself. Just like any human being in an organization, when you do well, they reward you, they put your picture up there for a month. So if for the first month you have been able to stay committed to your budget, reward yourself. Go get a drink, get some pizza, enjoy. Yes, life should not be a very strict all the time. Reward yourself. Or maybe you want to buy a watch, very expensive watch, 200 cedis. Tell yourself that, okay, I am going to meet the target of staying committed to my budget for 5 months. If I'm able to get it, I'll buy the watch for myself. It's like you promising your children something if they're able to pass their exam. That promise will motivate them to study and pass. So motivate yourself that if I'm able to save 30,000 every month for the next 3 months, I would buy this nice watch for myself. I'll buy this nice shoe for myself. And the brain will pick it up. So periodic budget evaluation as you move on, keep checking. Are there new income sources coming on board? Is there anyone that has gone off that is no longer bringing me anything? Then you keep adjusting. Educate yourself, very, very important. Keep learning, get new skills, and then you can expand your income streams. So how to budget? There's a popular suggestion that people will always tell you to go by the 50-30-20 rule. 50-30-20 rule. So this simply means that when you take your salary, let's say it is 1,000 Ghana cedis, you have to dedicate 50% of that to your needs. 50% of your 1,000 cedis, which is about 500 cedis, to your needs. Then, so let me even start with savings. So 20% will go to your savings. So that's about 200 cedis. Then 50% should go to your needs, which is 500 cedis. And then 30%, which is the remaining 300, will be for your wants and your pocket money. So this is a popular suggestion. It's not that we should all go by it strictly, but it is something that is a base starting that we can start with. So mostly sometimes the money in the wants can come to complement the needs, but at least it is recommended that the savings should start at 20%. It should not also start too small. If it's too small, you realize that it's insignificant and the motivation will not be there. So this is something that is recommended. So this is a typical budget of somebody. So the person has a net disposable salary. His work salary is 3,200. His side hustle, he makes 700. Then when for, he expects 200 cedis. So maybe at the workplace, they give him fuel allowance or Rex allowance or something. He expects that. Then lottery, nothing is coming. He doesn't play any lotto or he doesn't do betting. Then this person has decided to do 20% savings or investment. So when you take the 20% out of his total income, which is 4,100, you have 3,280 left. So out of this 3,280, that is what he now have to spend on any other expenditure. So you realize that the formula Mr. Jamani gave us yesterday is playing out here. After you have your income, first thing that should be taken out is the savings. Because even before the government pays you, he takes out his tax. So why don't you now also tax yourself by taking out your savings? And what is left, you can now allocate to your expenditure. And when this person did all that, he's out of pocket money. So he's out of pocket. So this is money that is actually the 680 down there. It's actually money that is not allocated to any specific expenditure. So that is what he can put in his pocket, put under his pillow, and every day he just puts 100 cedi in his pocket and be moving so that when he it down, he can compensate. So we're moving on to saving. So on the budgeting, let's take some questions, some concerns. Maybe somebody have tried budgeting in the past and you had some challenges you can share. Or you've heard some stories about budgeting, you can share.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity. I just want to share on the budgeting.
Okay.
There are some instances that on the income side, another item is added, such as miscellaneous. And the miscellaneous, I know it to be 10% of the total budget.
Rather on the income, not expenditure side.
Yes. The income rather is the income. So 10% of the income will be allocated to the miscellaneous. So that one will take care of any inconveniences.
Good.
Or if there's a need to do an adjustment on the expenditure so that you will not look for extra money.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Exactly. Thank you so much. So this out of pocket, you can term it as miscellaneous any way you want to. It's just terminologies. But it's a good contribution. It's a good contribution. Okay, so we proceed. Savings, 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 savings. So most of us, okay, so I I think Mr. Jamani took this slide from me. As I wanted to find out how many of us agree with this definition. I'm sure by this time nobody will agree with this definition. Or is there somebody who still agrees with this definition? It says savings comprises the amount of money left over after spending. Do we agree with this definition?
Oh, please.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh.
Okay. If we had agreed, I would recommend this book for you to go and read, How to Stop the Pattern of Wrong Thinking. So we are happy now. We are changing our thinking pattern. Savings is not what is left over after spending. So we say savings, it is the result of the intentional is highlighted act of setting aside money, building it up. So you don't start with 100 cedis and remain there. You have to build it up, usually for a specific purpose or a goal. So as you started, you are building it. It's a habit you are building. Then you get to a point that you can use that money to then invest in something. So yesterday we realized that savings is not investment, especially that savings accounts mostly do not compensate you enough to take care of the inflation that is happening. So if you have a thousand Ghana cedis in your savings account, in the next 1 year it becomes a 900 or a 800. That is not an investment. Investment is to grow your fund, not to rather deplete it. So sometimes we save for a planned or a targeted purpose. Sometimes we also save as an emergency fund. So you just create a savings fund where you say, let me leave this money there in case one of my children falls sick at the middle of the month. I will not have to call a friend. Or in case there's an unforeseen situation, you can quickly fall on it. And we also have it as a sustainability fund. So on the first day, we said that usually financial education would demand that if you are a worker, you should have at least 6 months cover of your salary. So you should have saved at least 6 months of your monthly salary, so that even if you lose your job today, you know that in the next 6 months you will survive. You will not have to fall in the hands of people. So we call that one a sustainability fund. So like the government has also come with sustainability levy. So they want to sustain certain policies and things. So they need money to keep aside to be able to sustain those things. Okay. So we're looking at money management. Money management. So most of us, we have some money coming through our hands, but then how are we going to manage it? So you manage money by multiplying it. So that's why our caption will say how to make, manage, and multiply it. And you multiply money by acquiring assets. Assets. Assets is what will enable you to multiply the money. So, example, you have a 50,000, then you go and buy somebody's business that he's selling, somebody's provision shop. He doesn't want to operate again, or he's moving to Accra. Then you buy it from the person. You have acquired an asset which will generate income. The potential of it to generate income is what is making it an asset. The potential of that thing you have bought to generate income is what is making it an asset. So if you can buy something you call an asset, so some people go and buy a vehicle they intend to use for business. At the end of the day, the vehicle gives them so much problems that they end up having to spend more in that vehicle. And in that case, it is not an asset. I know somebody who was telling me he bought a taxi to do taxi business. He saved some money to do his license. The taxi business consumed the license money. He ended up selling the taxi and was still in debt. So already he bought could not be called an asset. It was a liability he bought. Because sometimes you go and buy something and your friends will look at it and say you have bought a liability. It means that it will actually, that thing you have bought will take more money from you than bringing you money. So anything that will take money or cash from you, or that will increase your expenditure, your expenses, is what we call a liability. So we call a liability. Okay. So the definition, like I've already given, so this is the financial definition of an asset. So mostly what we know in our society is assets are the things I own and liabilities are the things I owe. You can own something that is costing you, that is taking money from you. You can't call it an asset. Though you own it, the documents are in your name, but it's not an asset, it's a liability financially. So we have a financial definition. We say that it is a resource with economic value. So if we put that resource on the market, we can put a value on it that an individual or a corporate or a country owns or controls. So now it's not just about the ownership, but it's about who has control over it, with the expectation that it will provide a future benefit. So in this case, the benefit is cash flow coming in. You see, so if you go to a bank, you take a loan. The money is not for you, you don't own it, but you are controlling the money. So in that case, the money becomes an asset to you if you are able to use that money in your business and generate enough profit for you to pay back the loan with the interest. In that case, the loan becomes an asset to you because you are controlling it and it is bringing you benefit. Okay. Then a liability is an obligation. An obligation to provide resources such as goods. So in this case, we're looking at money or currency to satisfy outstanding debt. You see, to satisfy outstanding debt. So any obligation that puts a demand on you to provide a resource, it can even be your time. It can be your time that, oh, I'm in debt and I have to go and pay with my time, number of hours. That becomes a liability on you. And some of the things we have, we call assets, they are actually liabilities. But we have to continue servicing them, and they are not generating us any income. The final thing we'll be looking at is the cash flow quadrant. The cash flow quadrant. So the cash flow quadrant, it's a concept or a framework that was developed by a renowned business and a multi-millionaire called Robert Kiyosaki. He says it's a framework for understanding how people make money and how they can improve their financial situation. So now we have moved from knowing what money is, diagnosing ourselves to know where we stand, getting to see what we have now and against what is taking the money away from us. Now we want to see how we can improve it. And we are doing that with the cash flow quadrant. So with this, we can see ourselves. Okay, so we have a quadrant with two elements on the left, two elements on the right, two elements on top, and two elements down. So on the top left corner, we have employees. On the top right corner, we have business owners. On the down left corner, we have self-employed. And on the down right corner, we have investors. This one, Robert Kiyosaki says that if you are on the left-hand side, that is employee and self-employed. In fact, if you are on the left top, employee, you can never, if you want to stay there alone, you can never build financial freedom. Now we looked at those definitions. You can never build financial freedom by staying in that top corner. Even to get to the financial independence level will be difficult. Then when you move to the left down, which is self-employed, you could build financial independence, but financial freedom will also be very difficult to reach. Just that in the self-employed side, you work yourself out. So it's more like you are still an employee. Now you move into the top right corner, which is a business owner. So the business owner can build financial freedom and he has time to himself. The investor can build financial freedom. He has time to himself. So where would we want to be? Would you want to be in the top left corner where you cannot build it and you don't even have the time? Or the down where you cannot build it but you can get to financial independence, but your time to is not there? So what sense will it make to have money and you don't have time to spend it? But so he would advise that we try and combine the left with the right hand side. So maybe you are on the left top, which is employee, with the right top, which is business owner, where some of us are currently doing. You are on the left top employee, and you are also an investor, or you are a self-employed, and you are a business owner, or you are self-employed and you are an investor, or you transition completely into the right hand side where you are a business owner and you are an investor. So the multi-million guys, that is where they are. They don't play on the left hand side. Now, this is the dynamics here. If you are on the left top employee, you are trading your time for little amount of money because your employer will never pay you enough to leave the job. But if they pay you enough, you will go and your life will be so comfortable that you will not have the need to still work. So you will resign. No employer wants that. He wants you to keep making the money for him. So he will pay you just enough to keep you by. That is the secret. So with that concept, you can never grow into financial independence or freedom. Now, the self-employed, you are managing your own business, or you have it's your own work. Let's say you are a blacksmith, or do I say you're a caterer or something. You have your own business, but you are managing it yourself. So those of us who have the provision shops and the bars and the this, we are self-employed plus employee. So you realize that you are still struggling, and that's why you realize that you don't have time for yourself. And you see, the disease of the left-hand side is that you have to keep trading your time. So the self-employed, the whole money of the business is for you, but you have to put in your own effort. So you see the money is coming, but you don't have the time to spend it. You don't even have time to sleep. Self-employed. So it is still not a sustainable quadrant. Then you move to the top right, which is business owner. So the business owner, that is the advice I was giving my brothers, that now you have businesses, employ somebody to handle the headache. You are only to demand results from the person. And that's one thing we struggle to do. We put our brother there, we put our sister there. You cannot demand the results from him. Get somebody who has gone to school and studied, pay him the 1,000 or the 1,005 and demand him to produce it. Because you are running a business. If the person can put in the effort, that 1,000 you are paying him, you realize that it is nothing. But we tend to put SS students, JSS graduates, our brothers, our sisters, we pay them 200, 300, saying that the business is not doing well, and they end up cutting corners and siphoning money that would be more than the 1,000 you would have paid in the end of the month. So as a business owner, then you have time to yourself, just that you have now put people, you are now you're making money out of people, just like the way your current employer is making money out of you. So you are now relaxing your house. By 3:30, you go to your business center, call your manager to your office and demand the results. So in that case, you are now growing into financial freedom because you have the time to even now research and know more about your business, how to bring innovation. Because if you are managing the thing yourself, you don't have time to go and read, to even listen to news to know what is happening in your industry. But you have put somebody to handle the day-to-day headache, and you are now looking at the future, the tomorrow. What is the direction? Where do I want my business to be? So in that case, you are now playing a strategic role, but the manager will play a functional role in the business. Then we come to the right down, which is an investor, where all these three can tap into. So the investor, we are now looking at you buying treasury bills, you are investing into treasury bills, you are investing into mutual funds, you are investing into other people's businesses. So like I spoke about buying shares. So or even the crowdfunding thing I spoke about. You can join one of these crowdfundings, we pull thousand together, and then we support a business. The business does well, and they pay us returns, but our money is still working for us. So in the last quadrant is your money that is working for you. The right top is people that are working for you. The left top, you are working for yourself. And the left down, you are still working for yourself, just that you are making a little more than the top. Please, is it clear?
Yes, sir. Very clear. I saw this somewhere, but I didn't get the meaning until you are now explaining it. Thank you so much.
Yes. So that is the meaning of it. So if you are on the left-hand side, before you can hit or start thinking about financial freedom, you have to think of getting into the right-hand side. The right-hand side. And most of us, we see business people as demons. Once you have that kind of mind, then it will be difficult to break into their world, because our thinking and their thinking is clearly not the same. So we have to have an open mindset. Don't see them as evil, because some of them, when they tell us their story, how they start, you would marvel. And that is one of the things I have seen in our society. We demonize every person who has made it, and it is not the best. Once you don't appreciate where they are, you cannot get there. Because by the time you get there, somebody will not appreciate you. Okay. So this is a more expanded form of the cash flow quadrant. So you see the details of each of them. If you're an employee, you have a job, your time is being exchanged for money. You have no leverage. So the leverage I spoke about first, you are exchanging all your time for the job, the small money you are getting. So you don't have any time to spend on doing other things for yourself. Then you are also a job owner, a business owner. You are also exchanging your time for your own business. Just that you have to be there yourself. So you equally don't have any leverage. Then when you move into the right hand side, here you are owning the system. You are the owner of the business you have put there. You might not have to be working there yourself. You just have to put competent people to work for you. You see, so here you are leveraging on the effort of some people. You are leveraging on the effort of some people. Then you come to the last, or the right bottom. You have money works for you. So here you also have passive income. Your money you have is what you have invested, and it is generating some income for you. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, by the grace of God, today I've been able to work within time. I would like to thank you so much. My phone number is what is displayed down there. Those of us with the business concerns, we can pick the phone number, or we reach out to the administrator, who can see how we schedule some engagements, and then we help each other. Thank you so much.
Yes, please.
All right, please
Actually,
go.
I'm highly grateful. Actually, I'm just a beginner, a starter doing a job. So I hope listening to all that he has shared with us, I believe that life is going to be simple if only I follow what they have taught. In fact, this kind of teaching is really improving some of us our lives, and I believe that God will strengthen them, granted the wisdom to continue to do more for us. Thank you very much.
And a wemba.
Please, I'm grateful for the presentation, and I think listening to what I heard, in fact, there's going to be a great improvement in my business, and I'm very grateful for that. And God bless you.
About the savings, he mentioned that he will recommend a book for us to read about how to stop something like that. I wanted to get a title well so that I will look for it.
How to stop the pattern of wrong thinking.
How to stop
a pattern of wrong thinking.
Okay, how to stop a pattern of wrong thinking. Kiyosaki books, I've been reading them a lot. And today I have heard a lot about the quadrants. So I've been seeing the quadrants, how to interpret them was a problem. Program has made it clear for me. I'm very grateful.